Live.
All right, welcome back to Score Trade Live. I'm Jared. That is my co-host Jake, and we are here talking about this awesome game, Score Trade, and we are going to go over everything. But first off, Jake, how are you doing?
Jared, I'm doing great. I mean, pretty good slate for NBA basketball tonight. A lot on the line with the playoffs coming up, and teams obviously playing hard down the stretch. Seeding in the East on the line, seeding out West on the line. So should be a pretty fun night.
Absolutely. There is a lot on the line. It's winding down, and there's also a lot of the line on here on Score Trade because we have a lot of people coming in here trying to win these NBA top shots. They're trying to win, trying to collect as many tokens as possible. And the only way to do that is to grind out some of these games here. We have in today's format, you basically have all the top stars that you can buy, sell, and trade on for today's action.
Absolutely. And, it's a little different than what we've done because, I mean, it's not a quarter. You got to play the long-term game here. You got to be watching the games. You got to be getting a feel who's doing well, who's struggling, when to buy, when to sell. The same strategies we use in the first quarter contest and throughout, they can still apply, but you got to think about it a little different tonight if you're playing on ScoreTrade.
Sure. And you actually have to be a little more, I would say, potentially a little more conservative. You can't take that big risk. Because if you take that big risk and you're out, well, you're out for the rest of the night. So, you got to be careful. Like, for instance, here we have Kawhi Leonard to score over 25 points. And, it's the end of the first quarter. He only has 2 points down to 25 cents. So is it time to go ahead and take a stab at Kawhi Leonard? I mean, you would think he would go ahead and get he'd get plenty of shots, but you never know.
And that's the key thing, right? I mean, when do you know when to make the commitment to someone that's kind of struggling to score the rock? Kawhi Leonard to score 25 points. All right. You mentioned it. You got 2 points right at the end of the first quarter. You could buy real low on Kawhi right now and just hope he has one of those games where he kind of explodes, which is certainly possible. So that might be my first play. I'm going to buy a little Kawhi share to kind of get me going here and see if he gets hot here. Because even if he doesn't get to 25, you feel pretty good that the price will go up. And then maybe that's an approach tonight, right, Jared?
I think that's exactly how to do it. What you do is you buy low right here, for instance, Kawhi, because he's going to score more than 2, unless he gets injured. So let's say he gets up to 10, that price goes up to 50, maybe 55 cents, then cash out and then turn around and reinvest your score trade dollars and other potential value spots.
I totally agree because even if Kawhi doesn't get the 25, I would find it hard to believe that he doesn't at least go on a run to increase the trade value of the stock right there. I mean, he's not going to finish the game with no points scored. So you're buying low on a guy that, statistically speaking, what's the likelihood Kawhi Leonard doesn't end up scoring at least 15 points tonight? Maybe he doesn't get the 25, but as he scores, we've seen this a lot, the price of the stock is only going to go up.
Absolutely. Great. That's a great way to look at it. And look, you have all these early games, and then you're going to have these late games. So this doesn't end until the end. You have the Nuggets playing tonight. You got the Bulls playing tonight. You got the Portland Trailblazers playing tonight. You got the Phoenix Suns playing tonight. So this is a long-term affair here. So definitely get in here, mix it around, and win those score trade tokens. Because then you can turn around and cash them in for some great prizes like the NBA Top Shots.
And that's the key. Get the prize, get some tokens, and between the Dogecoin and the NBA Top Shots, there is just a lot happening.
Absolutely. All right, so let's go around the league real quick, Jake. So on the line here for the 76ers versus the Miami Heat. Look, there's not a lot on the line. However, the 76ers are still trying to wrap up the number 1 seed here. They probably will do it. They're a game and a half ahead of Brooklyn. And then you also have Miami trying to hold off the Celtics.
Yeah, that game in particular is fascinating because from, a Heat standpoint, they're battling out with the Knicks and with the Hawks for the, for either the 4 or the 5 seed. Ideally, you're the 4, you get home court in the first round. And from a Sixers standpoint, they're pretty close to locking the 1 seed up. I think you want to make it official. You play well down the stretch and you can get it. So it's big for both teams. But really, I'm eyeing Miami in this one, Jared, just because I think the difference in the Heat, having to play the Bucks in the first round as opposed to playing either the Knicks or the Hawks, I mean, that makes a big difference if you're the 4 or 5 versus if you're the 6 going up against the 3, if it ends up being Milwaukee or even, Brooklyn still is in play to be the 3 seed as well. So I think getting the 4 or 5 in the East is especially important.
Oh, 100%. Now, is there anything going on today that would implicate the New York Knicks going forward? I mean, I guess they would need them. They would like the Miami Heat to lose here in this particular game, would they not?
Yeah, I think if you're a Knick fan, you got to be rooting for the Sixers tonight. And it might be weird for the New York sports fan to pull for Philly and something, right? But that's kind of where we're at. And I'm looking up the standings here with the Knicks. I
Mhm.
mean, record wise, they got the same record as the Heat. The issue is based on tiebreakers. Miami right now at 38 and 31 would be the 5. Atlanta, we watched their game last night on ScoreTrade. They won
Mhm.
last night, so they're a half game in front of Miami and the Knicks. So basically, the Knicks need to run the table, go 3-0 down the stretch here. And all 3 games are at home. It's doable. I believe it's San Antonio, Charlotte, and then the Celtics on Sunday. So 3 winnable games for the Knicks. There's no doubt. It starts tonight, though,
Mhm.
at MSG. I think the Garden's going to be loud. Knicks just had a successful road trip. And, if you're looking at it from a score trade perspective, like we always do, I like the play on Julius Randle here. I think there's value in getting Randle before tip-off. I think he's going to come out and play well. The Knicks, to me, look like a team out of gas at the end of their road trip. They had the day off yesterday. They know what's on the line. I think playing at home will provide some energy for the crowd. So I'm buying some Randall stock to score 24 points or more. I'm going over on that. And, I might sell if he gets hot early on and get some value there too.
Yeah, I like that play. Right now, you have Giannis coming at 9 points. His over under total. Now, this is for the Milwaukee Bucks Indiana game. His over under is set at 28. His price is at 64 cents. So probably would not jump on that at the moment. Maybe see if he drops just a tad bit. Chris Middleton, only 2 points in the first quarter. So I do think there's a little bit of value there. He only needs to go over 20. So if you jumped on Chris Middleton at 37 cents for the Bucks, you might be able to get some value when he does put the ball in the basket and be able to collect some of those score trade tokens. The one person I'm not feeling too good about here is Sabonis. In my opinion, Sabonis has his hands full with Giannis down low. I don't really like Sabonis. What do you think about Sabonis in this matchup?
I'm with you. I probably will fade that total, under and see if, because I mean, could he turn things around? Sure. The game is very early on and it's a marathon, not a sprint with the contest we're playing tonight, but I'm with you there. Giannis is defensive player of the year for a reason. So that's a tough matchup for him here. It's really a tough matchup for the Pacers in general. They've just had a brutal year at 33 and 36. There's no player on the Pacers I feel confident about that I'm gonna invest some real score trade coin in, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. There's another potential matchup here between when you have the Clippers and the Hornets. You got Teddy Rozier. He has 2 points through basically the first 14 minutes of this game, and his over/under is set at 21. Price is 30 cents a share. He only has 2 points thus far. So do you see any value in Teddy Rozier in the score trade perspective?
I just feel like if you get up to a slow start in the first quarter, it's kind of what we were just talking about with Kawhi. Like Terry Rozier is an important part of that offense. His total being at 21 is based on his average. Like that's how it works, as you know, Jared. But for maybe people new to the game, so there's certainly to me value in there. I mean, if you're going to get Rozier after he only had 2 points in the first quarter at 30 cents a share, I'm going to buy a couple shares of Terry Rozier here because I think that's a long-term play. Maybe you sell before he gets to the 21 and you make up some value there and you can reinvest it and kind of do the, what's it on the stock market? The dump and pump or pump and dump. I mean,
pump and dump.
I feel like we're kind of doing that here with Sport Trade today.
Yeah, for sure. So Scary Terry is definitely good value there at 30 cents a share. I actually personally just invested 200 shares, about 200 shares of Scary Terry, hoping that he goes up to maybe 45 cents, and then I'm going to sell it off and find somewhere else to put that equity. Now you have Paul George sitting at 23 points. His over under is 23. He needs to get to 6. Price is 46 or 45 cents a share. I'll probably stay off of Paul George at that high a price. I just don't think there's much value buying at 45 cents this early in the game.
I feel like at least with the superstars in particular, from what we've seen so far, the value is probably just to wait. Like if you're going to, I think early on, if you're going to play a score trade contest early on, go with the guys with the lower numbers, because if they hit a
Mhm.
shot early, I mean, that stock's going to skyrocket. You could
Right.
sell before they even go over the total. And on the superstars, the guys that are averaging, 20 something points a night, maybe you wait on that, see if they start slow. So then you could buy it at a better price. Like, you're not going to judge an NBA player's night on the first 5 minutes of the game, but the algorithm is going to reflect what's happened within the first 5 minutes of the game. So there's value there if you're playing it,
Mhm.
if you're playing it the right way, essentially.
Yeah, 100%. So that is by far the best way to play this game, guys. Is you got to keep your eye on the ups and downs over the course of the game. So you buy low, you sell high. Now you can't buy the under in this matchup here. So you always have to keep your eye on what's trending up and what's trending down, so you can find that value here. So Chris Middleton, 35 cents to go over the 20. I mean, that's getting into a pretty good value spot there. He only has 2 points through the first 1.5 quarters. And I guess the issue here, the thing is, if you're keeping track of the game, making sure that he's playing and making sure that he's healthy. Obviously, if he gets hurt, then you want to back off, and you don't want that particular investment on your portfolio. As Giannis just scores 11 points, as it's been a pretty close game thus far. Indiana and Milwaukee. Indiana's 50-47 through almost halfway through the second quarter. And then as far as the Clippers and the Hornets here, well, at one point the Clippers were winning, I believe, by 10 points. Now it's gotten a little closer, 36-32 Clippers. And Kawhi Leonard still only scored 2 points thus far, Jake.
Yeah, and you're looking at just a real slow start for Kawhi, but it's one of those things where it's like maybe buy even more Kawhi stock now. I mean, now you're talking about a decent chunk of the second quarter being played. Kawhi Leonard stock is at 25 cents a share. I'm that confident in Kawhi Leonard. I'm buying some more. I just think I think ultimately he's the type of player that he's streaky, and when he gets hot, the price maybe he doesn't get up to 70. Because maybe he just has one of those nights where he doesn't score, 20 points. But if it gets to 50, you just made a decent chunk of money by, basically pumping up the Kawhi stock right there.
Yeah. So, guys, if you are new to SCORETRADE, I hope this makes sense. What we're trying to give you guys is basically the meta of how to play this game, how to attack this game. Now, the best part about SCORETRADE is 100% free to play. You play for free. You win for real. There are some real prizes that you can cash in and take home to yourself. You got these NBA Top Shots that are absolutely amazing, and Top Shot is all the rage nowadays. You get some of these really valuable Top Shots, and you can turn around and flip them for a certain profit, or you keep them and let them accrue in value, and then you do whatever you want with them. But NBA Top Shot is awesome. Obviously, the Dogecoin is cool too, but overall, NBA Top Shot is where it's at right now, Jake.
Totally agree. I mean, the Top Shot's crazy. By the way, have you seen the increase in the Giannis share? It just kind of gives you some perspective. So Giannis is 13 points right now, 7:46 to go in the second quarter. His price share is already at 81. So, and now I just see it went down to 79 as I'm talking, but still the point remains the same. The pump and dump with Kawhi Leonard has got to be the move if you're trying to see some value here, because there's just no way Kawhi Leonard's not going to finish with at least 13 points, right? If he gets to 13 points, we're seeing the shares kind of move up. Obviously, time of game factors in that, of course, but there's just no way Kawhi Leonard here is going to finish the first half, I believe, with 2 points. So I think the play we have with Kawhi early is looking strong, assuming he gets going.
Yeah, for sure. So if you had that Giannis I probably would sell off a little bit. I mean, as you can see, as soon as he hit the 13 points, it shot up, and then it started trickling down because the time starts running off the clock. So sell it, and then as it comes down, buy it again. So you're selling high, buying low. That is basically the stock market philosophy, right? So now, but we're doing it in a sports way, a sports entity kind of way. That's what makes the stock market and the fantasy sports meld together in a perfect harmony. And that's what I think this game will be 100% successful, because this is what's fun, being able to watch something like watching the Bucks game and be able to make informed decisions based off of what we see. It's like the ultimate version of insider trading, and insider trading is 100% permitted and even encouraged here on SCORETRADE. So definitely, if you happen to know Kawhi Leonard, you'd be like, hey, Kawhi, don't score some points, man, so I can make some money.
You just tank early on. I mean, that's what we're looking at here. The Knicks and Spurs game has just tipped off. The Knicks are off to a 4-3 lead. Julius Randle just had his first field goal of the
There we
game.
go.
No, we already saw it. Julius Randle, he went from 50 cents a share, hit the first bucket, it went up to 53. I could sell right now and make 6 cents if I wanted to.
Yeah. And the thing is, that might not be a bad thing, because as soon as you sell it, that price is going to drop down a little bit as time goes on. And then all of a sudden, you'll be able to rebuy and then hope he scores again. So as you're watching the game, you could actually, when he does not have the ball, maybe sell your stock off, but then maybe somebody passes him the ball. You can buy the stock real quick and hope that he puts two points in the basket.
Yeah.
And,
I'd be like this,
get that
real close, holding the phone, like ready to go at any given moment.
Exactly. Now, Giannis, he scored another 2 points, and now he's up to 15 points. So that price is up to 85 cents. So,
too high. I'm selling. If I had Giannis stock, I was selling.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah, 100%. Now, Scary Terry, his prices continue to go down to 24, so it doesn't look like they're getting him involved. So I have 400 shares of Kawhi Leonard, and I have 200 shares of Teddy Rozier, and neither of them are doing anything for me right now at the moment. So I'm hoping maybe I should have put some money in Giannis before it got too expensive.
The thing with Giannis, it's like, you don't necessarily know how quick it's going to shoot up to. Like, I was even a little surprised when I saw he got to 13 points. It was at 80 something a share. I'm like, really? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's crazy. Honestly, the guy to maybe look at would be Chris Middleton here, because you would think maybe second half adjustments. He's going at 28 cents right now. He's one of those guys where he's obviously a 20 point a night scorer. I actually like maybe the play of Middleton at 28 cents, invest a couple shares in that, and I could see that number going up throughout the course of the second half here. We still got a lot of game clock to go, and I don't think Middleton's going to stay at 28 cents a share for that much longer.
I can't imagine. I mean, if he rips off maybe 6-7 points here, I mean, I would think that price jumped up to maybe 60, 70 cents. And if that's the case, I have 1,100 shares of Chris Middleton. I'm going to go ahead and cash out that value. And then maybe he drops down again and I'll rebuy.
It's certainly an option. Also, you could get Joel Embiid at 45 cents a share. Now, I get it. Embiid's total is a lot higher than most at 29, but I mean, doesn't it kind of feel like Embiid's good for 29 points every night? I mean, you might be getting it pretty low right now before he starts to take off offensively.
Well, there's no doubt, and he's probably trying to get some last minute goodwill with the MVP voting committee, and hoping that they look his way, because he's probably in a dead race here with Jokic, even though I personally believe Nikola Jokic should probably be the MVP, but I'm sure he's going to try to make his case down the stretch here.
Totally agree. I feel like the battle for MVP, unfortunately for Joel Embiid, might just come down to the fact that, he missed more games than Nikola Jokic, but both guys have been absolutely phenomenal this year. They really have.
Yeah, I believe Joel Embiid has missed over a quarter of the season, so I think it'd be really difficult to promote him up to and vote him in as the league MVP this year. As great as he is, I mean, the dude is a force. The ball gets down in the post. I mean, who's stopping him? Not many people stop Joel Embiid. So, but I just think it was just not enough play. So I think that's going to be an issue for Joel Embiid. Right now we have the Spurs game tipped off as well. Looks like it's going to be it's 3-0 to the 6-3 Knicks.
Yep.
Let's see. And then you got Jokic. His prop is at 55 cents, and that game takes off a little later today.
That's expensive. It's tough. I mean, these superstars on the premium, but you get why. Jokic is one of those guys where, maybe flow of offense, you kind of watch the game and see what the looks he's getting are. And if, maybe gets out to a slow first quarter, that's when you buy up a lot of stock and then share it as he gets going, because that guy's going to score. He's too good. All
right, let's look at this the leaderboard here. You got Josh in first place. Jake, you are sitting pretty in second right now. So you need to listen to this guy's advice, guys. Whoever's listening to us, he knows what he's talking about. So listen to Jake. And then let's see here. We have at 007. That's a new name. I have not seen that guy on the leaderboard. So congrats to at 007. Keep it going. and then Colby, Utah, man, rounding out the top 4.
You know, it's interesting. At this time yesterday, I was just sitting on the couch, not being able to do anything because I ran out of money so quick. So I've been a little more conservative with my score trade cash tonight, Jared.
Well, it's okay when in those tournaments because there's 8 tournaments, so I think it pays to go all in certain spots. Where in this particular game, like you said, it's more the long game, so you got to be invested for the whole thing. But if you are able to put in the time, then you're definitely going to get paid for that, especially if you're keeping up with what's going on in the game. Right now, like for instance, that's Kawhi Leonard. I think he might have actually scored because my stuff just jumped up. Yeah, Kawhi Leonard has 5 points now, so he must have hit a 3-pointer. And Terry Rozier scored 4 points total. So both of those prices have jumped up a little bit.
Kawhi Leonard, his shares, I mean, the number is going to keep going up. We talked about it. And then, as you were talking there, Jared, Julius Randle just hit another jump shot. So Randle's already up to 4 points here. He's already trading up at, 57 cents a share. I bought in at 50. So I'm riding the Julius Randle train right now.
So what price point are you looking to go ahead and cash out and lock in some of that profit?
It's a good question. I have not played enough to get a feel for like what is the right price point. I guess it just comes with that experience. I mean, I guess ideally I'd be looking for at least 70, 75 cents, I'd imagine.
Right. The thing is, I think if you get up to, let's just say 65% and you cash out, there's a good chance it might fall back down to 50 cents or so. And then you can reinvest and buy even more shares the second time around.
You reinvest in the profits into it. That's right. It's not bad. What did we say Middleton was up to?
So he has 4 points now. He was trading at like, I want to say it was like a 25 cent or 27 cents along with Kawhi Leonard. Now he's up to 31 cents, I believe.
Yeah, he's moving and grooving here. And then Giannis, I mean, he's trading at 80 cents a share right now because he's already got 15 points. I mean, it does feel like that's a lock to go over. So maybe you can buy some more and then dump it when he gets really close, or just hold on to it knowing he's going to hit. But it's tricky.
Right. But, that Giannis, that's a good example because I believe he was up to like 88 cents at one point. And now, as you can see, the time ticking off, the value is going down to 80 cents here. So it might be, when you watch somebody jump up like that, just keep your eye on it because you're right. Giannis will go over the 28. I can't imagine he wouldn't. But, right now at 80, even at 88, it's too high. But if it gets down into the 75, well, you might be able to buy it at 75 cents. And then he'll go over that 28 as long as he doesn't get injured. Then you're basically making 25% on your investment right there on just that one trade when he hits 100.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And then, I'm just looking at Kawhi Leonard here and his price. I'm going to sell some of my shares as it's gone up and reinvest it back into him at 26 cents. I think there's some value there.
Right. All right. Let's see here. We got Magic versus Hawks tonight. So Trae Young and the Magic. I mean, this game really doesn't mean much obviously doesn't mean anything to the Magic. It does have a little bit of implications for the Hawks. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, the Hawks are basically in a spot here where if they run the table, they'll finish in front of the Knicks. I don't know the tiebreakers off the top of my head between Atlanta and the Heat, how it would play out if they finished with identical records, who would be the 4, who would be the 5. But basically, the Knicks need to run the table and get help from either the Heat or the Hawks. They need to lose one of their last couple games here, and the Knicks would need to go undefeated to get the 4. But as far as just the Hawks, they're still certainly playing for either the 4 or the 5.
Yeah, so this is why I like this new playoff system that they got going on because it makes everything way more interesting. Because if it was like the regular system just a couple of years ago, none of these games really would have mattered anymore. I mean, for the most part. So that's what's the beautiful part about it. So right now you have the Sacramento Kings. They have a puncher's chance to get in. They need the Spurs to lose, and the Kings need to win out. So they're not officially eliminated. So Spurs need to win today versus your Knicks. But personally, I'm hoping the Knicks. I hope the Knicks run the table. I'm loving the Knicks this season. I love everything there is about that team. The 3-and-D New York Knicks is where it's at, and then, and then also in the Eastern Conference, you have the Chicago Bulls. They are 3.5 games out of the 10th seed, Washington has not clinched. They needed to win yesterday versus the Hawks to clinch that final seed, playoff seed. But it looks like if Chicago wins out and the Wizards lose the rest of their games, then actually Chicago finds their way back into the 10 seed.
They're still alive. And
Yep.
we talked about this on a previous show. Think about how different their season could have been had Zach LaVine not missed so much time.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, they made some moves at the trade deadline to bring in Vucevic, which surprised a lot of people. I thought Vucevic was going to Boston, to be honest with you, and instead he goes to Chicago. And then that shows you that Chicago was all in on this year. And they have some great pieces, and Lauri Markkanen and Kobe White. Obviously, Zach LaVine is a beast. And then they brought in Vucevic, and I was really impressed. I was really actually excited for the Bulls. Figured they could make a run. They were already inside the playoff hunt, and then they go on a tremendous losing streak with Zach LaVine, and then Zach LaVine comes down with the virus. He's out for 14 or more days, and then the whole season has gone down the drain for the most part.
Yeah, you're certainly right about that. I mean, it's the injuries this year in the NBA. I mean, top to bottom, from stars to role players. I wonder how much of that is just, the lack of an off season for some of these teams that maybe were in the bubble, maybe the pomp and circumstance, the COVID restrictions, guys aren't getting the work in that they normally would, maybe in an off season or even during the season. I don't know what specifically it is, but you do get the feeling there's been more injuries this year than in prior years.
Yeah, and there's also been a lot of stars resting this year, and that's been kind of frustrating for some of these fans. It's because all of a sudden you have these stars not playing on back-to-back games, and in my opinion, that's also very frustrating from like a prediction standpoint, because you don't know who's playing from one game to the next. So, but now that we're getting into the nitty-gritty of the postseason here, I don't expect many people to actually be taking off going forward. This is why they were resting, is for this playoff scenario that's going to happen. I think the play-in starts on Tuesday. Is that right, Jake?
Correct. Yeah, and there's no back-to-backs in the playoffs too, so like that should help stop some load management from happening in a playoff series, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and if you guys are not familiar with the new play-in system, so what it's going to be basically is you're going to take the number 9 and the number 10 seed, and whoever wins that game goes on to play the winner of the 7 and 8 seed. Is that? Yeah. And then no, they play the loser of the 7 and 8, and then the 7 already automatically goes in to the main playoff, and then the winner or the loser between the 7 and 8 and the winner between the 9 and 10 play for that final spot of the playoffs.
Yeah, you got it right. Basically, 7 plays 8. Winner goes to the playoffs. The loser of the 7 versus 8 game will play the winner of the 9 versus 10 game. And then, if the 9 seed beats the 10 seed, the 8 seed will play the 9 seed. Winner gets the final spot. So it's, basically, if you're in the play-in game, you have two chances to go to the playoffs. If you're in the 9-10 play-in game, you got to win that game and then win another game just to get to the playoffs.
Yeah, it sounds confusing, but it really isn't. It's a lot of fun, actually, and I'm actually excited about how this is shaping out to be. At first, I was like, I don't really care for it, but just like most people don't like change, but once you realize how awesome the change is, then you go from there. So, let's see here. First place, Josh. It looks like it's the same leaderboard for the most part. As before we wrap this thing up, Josh, guys, make sure you play out through the rest of today's games. There's plenty of action all day, and so you can win. First place is 10,000 SCORETRADE tokens, Jake. So it's not your regular 1,000 per tournament. Today is 10,000. So you guys that are grinding out, this is the tournament to win. Win the 10,000 tokens, because that goes a long way in cashing in some of these awesome prizes from SCORETRADE.
No, you're 100% right about that. I mean, it's a lot harder to win when you got to play the long game rather than just dump it all in the first quarter and maybe you catch a break. So there's some real skill involved tonight that we'll see on the leaderboard.
Yeah, and that's why the first place is 10,000 tokens. So you're definitely going to be rewarded for your time here. All right, so I guess let's do a quick recap of what's going on here. And before we sign off for today's action, we have Chris Middleton. Look at that. Chris Middleton has scored 11. He's up to 72 cents, Jake. So his price is up to 72. It's time for me to cash out. I have 1,100 shares of Chris Middleton.
I didn't go in as much as I should have. I talked about it, but I didn't back it up again. So maybe that's my one blemish. We talked about Middleton. Well, he was as low as like 20 cents, you said, right? I think it was pretty low.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's halftime there. So he must have scored quite a bit there before halftime. Giannis sitting at 85 cents. I don't have any of him. So bonus, we both talked about him. He has not really done much since we've been on air. 24 cents for Sabonis here.
Look at him, maybe second half as a possible option there. Kind of goes back to what we said at the top. Julius Randle was up to 88 cents share, and I just sold a lot of my shares on Randle because I felt
wow.
That's about as good as it's going to get. Randle already has 10 points, with 2 minutes to go in the opening quarter here at the Garden.
Wow. Yeah, Randle is balling out already this early. Score is 16-16, New York versus the Spurs. Another person that's balling out is Jimmy Butler. We really didn't touch on Butler. 8 points in the first quarter, and there's still 5 minutes left in the first quarter. You have Miami 20 to Philly 12 points. How are we looking on Joel Embiid?
Yeah, Embiid is, obviously going to be a focus in any game plan. So far tonight, Joel Embiid in this one has 2 points. It's only taking one field goal in 7 minutes. So Embiid's a buy low option potentially on ScoreTrade right now.
Yeah, and as you said that, it looks like he just scored 2 more points. So now he's up to 4 with 46 cents a share. So a lot of good stuff. There's, before we sign off, I think DeMar DeRozan might be a good candidate. He's down to 29 cents. He only has 2 points, in the first quarter. It's still about 2 minutes left in the first quarter in that game.
Kawhi Leonard down to 17 cents a share. If
Wow.
you could buy the increase with Kawhi, assuming he gets going here.
Wow. That's crazy, man. So it's halftime basically in that game. So I would say if he plays, definitely keep your eye on maybe Twitter and make sure that he's actually going to play this second round. I'd imagine that the Clippers do they need this win? It looks like they're in third place right now.
Playing for some seeding out there for sure. Kawhi at 17 cents. I just dumped $2,000 in shares to get that up. There's no way he's not going to go off in the second half, and then I'll sell it, and maybe he doesn't get the 25, but we'll play the market a little bit. We'll buy the dip and sell when he starts to rise.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take that advice as well. I'm going to buy 4,800 shares. I'm all in. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for checking out ScoreTrade today. Definitely, win those tokens. Like I said, 10,000 for first. Second place is 5,000. So, and you want to cash in for some of those NBA top shots. The NFTs is all the rage. But guys, thank you so much for checking out our live show. And also we'll be back tomorrow. Well, actually, Jake, you're going to be off tomorrow. I will be back here today or tomorrow, and we'll have some more ScoreTrade shenanigans and have a lot of fun rooting you guys on to victory. Jake, let's go ahead and get out of here, man.
Jared, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much for being part of